What is cracking, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Don't Just Get Up, Wake Up. With your boy Zodog, alright? It's a beautiful, beautiful hot weekend, but let's get right into it. This episode is dedicated to America, especially white America, but all Americans. But it's especially for white America because it seems like I have difficulty sitting down and having a discussion about what's currently going on in America without certain white people telling me, hey, well, what about the blacks killing blacks? What about all the killing in Chicago? What about all the blacks arrested or thrown in prison? They can keep on going on and on instead of addressing what's really going on and why things are the way they are because of the past and the systemic racism that is continuously happening. So as soon as we address that, then we can move forward because a lot of people are just too uncomfortable to even talk about it. So, and I'm finding that even with some of my black friends, I keep on talking to them about it and they keep on bringing up, but what about blacks killing blacks? I'm like, damn, man, you guys don't even know why that mentality started. We need to know the origins of all of this before we can address it and before we can have a solution. So hopefully by the end of this episode, everything will be cleared. Open up a few eyeballs. I can lead you to the water. It's just up to you to drink it, okay? So I'm not gonna force nobody no more. All I can do is educate the masses and bring you to the water. It's up to you to drink it, all right? Because redundancy, basically training the brain, it becomes muscle memory. So the more you do it, the more secondhand nature this becomes. So, a few days ago on Netflix, there's a documentary called 13th that I actually posted on Facebook, is what I meant to say. A few days ago on Facebook, I posted up a documentary called 13th. And you can find that on Netflix. It's about an hour and 13 minutes. I think it's about an hour and 13 minutes long, if I'm correct. But basically, this is a documentary talking about the U.S. prison system and how the equality drives the high rate of incarceration in America. The director is Avi DuVernay, I believe, if I'm saying her name right. And it's a great documentary. It has a lot of old school footage combined with new school footage, and it just gives you a good old history lesson of what's been going on and what's currently going on now in the prison systems in America. And it's a great eye opener. Okay, if you're unaware of what's been going on and how the prison system works and how the prison systems nowadays is treated as a big business. So they're basically looking to put people in jail so they can get money monthly. Big businesses are actually a part of this. It is sickening and very disturbing. It's the new age slavery, okay? So it's all a part of systemic racism. So if you guys don't know that, you need to check out 13th. I'll have a picture behind me somewhere, and you guys can go to Netflix or YouTube, as a matter of fact, and look up the full feature link for the documentary. It's mind-blowing, all right? I haven't watched it in a while, but I just watched it recently, and it's an emotional roller coaster ride. So be prepared, America, all right? You want to be shock valued? Yeah, that's going to hit you right in your belly button region. Right around here. This is some hardcore truth. It's up to you to swallow it, all right? It's red pill season. Red pill season, baby. So yeah, check out 13th, and there's another video that I just saw from DL Hughley. Let's take a quick break and actually peep it out. All right.
Because you taught them.
So Shannon, do you find it difficult to discuss race with white people?
I do. Because Skip, if you talk all the way real about America and try to have an open and honest dialogue, conversation with white America,
Yep.
then it would go to it would tear down the very foundation, the very fabric in which they said America was built on. America was not built on freedom. America was built on racism. And the backbone, the lifeblood, the economy of America was built on the backs of slaves. That is fact.
Yep.
And racism is so ingrained in America because, Skip, from the very first time when you brought those slaves over in 1619, you had someone to look down on. You robbed him of his given name. You robbed him of his dignity. You robbed him of his humanity. You told him he was less than. You treated him as less than. And then somehow you say, what? That America is what? America is how? He never received that. You got 250 years of free labor.
Yep.
250. Because, Skip, let me tell you how this works, Skip. When you hire someone to do something, either you can't do the job or you don't want to do the job. So which is it? So as America was thriving, who was doing the work? The workers. It wasn't you. Not only were they working in the field, they were taking care of your kids before they could take care of their own. So this notion that America, white people did, we did all this. No, you didn't. Skip, and then you have to look. The greatest purveyor of racism and violence is the American white man. No race of people have suffered more on American soil than the black. No one. To this day. So you had 250.
I mean, you could argue the Native Americans.
But Skip,
yeah.
they weren't enslaved for 250.
No, they were not.
Now,
They were just murdered often and their homes taken from them. But
that's what happened.
I got it.
And
I'm just saying, for on balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing was, Skip, and they still did it, and they did it.
Yeah.
See, guess what they did? So they've been stealing and looting since the inception of America.
True.
So when you talk openly and honestly about how what they did to the American black, and then he's like, oh, get over that. That was so long ago. That's ingrained. Years and years, Skip, where you don't have any income. So great-grandfathers had sons and sons and sons that had nothing. They had no wealth. While they were passing it down from generation to generation, he was a slave owner. His son was a slave owner. His son became a slave owner. His son became a slave owner. You see how that wealth kept going down the line? Where we were having to start from scratch and Skip because, you couldn't read. A lot of these guys, they couldn't read. And if they caught you reading, they beat you or they killed you. So it took us a long time. And those were the ones happened to be the few that overcame.
Yep.
So if we have open and honest conversation about what America is and how America came to be, how do you tell the story without telling about the American slave and his significant role in American history? But they'll tell you about George Washington. George Washington had slaves. They'll tell you about Thomas Jefferson. He owned slaves too, but he wrote the Declaration. You see, Skip? But he wrote the Declaration of Independence. What about the slaves that he had? What about
He even had kids with him.
Yeah, and that wasn't by choice. Stanley Hemings was 14 years old.
Yep.
So in other words, and he took across state lines and across seas for immoral purpose. But that's Skip. I don't want to get too far to that. But you know what I'm talking about. So if we tell the story of America in its totality, truthfully, honestly, white America can't deal with that, Skip, because they want to feel that we discovered it because we wanted a better way of life and we yada, yada, yada. But that's not it. And so you're going to have to rewrite history. All those history books will have to be burned. Instead of sidebars and footnotes, the African American would have to be featured very prominently. And I don't know if America really wants to do that. I really don't.
Have you ever sat down and had a conversation with a white man about race relations like you just had with
because anytime we talk about race, the first day they talk about, well, Shannon, what about the black on black crime? What about the violence in Chicago? You see, it's always, Skip, I got to shift it. I don't want to talk about, let's talk about this head on. Let's talk about what you did, how you robbed and pillaged and looted Native Americans of their land, and how you enslaved, brought men and women to cultivate this land, to grow. Skip, cooking. Who did all the cooking? Miss Mary ain't do no cooking. Who took care of the kids? She ain't take care of no kids. So, man, stop this. If you're going to tell the story, we're going to have to tell it in totality, Skip. But we'll have to tell it honestly. And Skip, that's 400 years. That's too much history. You're over 401 years. You don't really want to rewrite that kind of history.
Because I've always talked about race.
I think the reason why it's so easy for you to talk about race, Skip, because you've accepted the part that the white man has played in the shaping of America and the atrocities in which he's perpetrated against the black America and the Native Americans on American soil. You're open to that. A lot of people are not open to that. The reason why blacks are so open, it's happened to us. It's cathartic for us because we're talking about what has happened. You see what you're doing is that you said, and my grandmother did a lot. My grandmother had that type of relationship where she worked for people and she raised their kids and she would let them play with her own, with her kids. But Skip, that goes back centuries. Because the black women would suckle the white children before they suckled their own. So if you want to tell the story in its totality, Skip, there's something called a Mississippi appendectomy. What that was that black women would go to get procedures, and the doctors would remove give them a hysterectomy. So in order to tell the story about America, you have to tell it all in its totality.
That's true.
The good, the bad, and the indifferent. Skip, we don't want to tell that side. We want to paint America as, because America is viewed as this place on a hill that everything is so pristine, it's so it's so lovely. But if you go back and you look at his history, 1619. Nah. Right. And even when they said in 1865 emancipation freed the slaves, Skip, freedom to do what? Skip, if he had no education, he had no money, he had no land, guess what he went back and did? He went right back to the very same situation. And they called it sharecropping. What are we sharing? Are we splitting this 50-50? No, you work for me, I give you a place to stay, but I get all the benefits of the crop.
Okay.
But see, Skip, the thing is with you, although you're stubborn, you're very open-minded. You're very receptive to see a different point of view, even though it doesn't coincide with your own. So many people that look like you, that of your color, that talks like you, that sounds like you, they're unwilling to do that. They're so hell-bent. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be. So I don't want to hear anything. Forget the knowledge. Forget the fact that you benefited for what my ancestor did.
That's
you're
true.
benefiting from being white in America. So you already, Skip, you're already at third base. I'm at home. I'm swinging, but I already got 2 strikes. So to deny that, I don't know why you would. It's okay. I mean, it's okay when people say, well, Shannon, you look, I mean, I had muscles and I could run fast. Shannon, I had an advantage. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. It's not, oh, no. I understand that working on a farm and having older brothers and older cousins, it helped me to be more advanced than kids my age or a grade older than me. I understood that. But for you to deny that you benefited from this, why? Because now all of a sudden, you're not as smart. You're not as hardworking as you would like for people to believe. Think about that, Skip. What's the stereotype about black? They're lazy. How the hell you be lazy and be a slave and build America? I never understood that. Y'all lazy. You're savages. Everything that you see a lot of black America is a learned behavior. What do you think they learned it for? They learned to see how you split them up and how you killed them and how you did things when they tried to vote and what you did to the Native Americans. They see that. So they learned it from you. Everything, they learned it from you. The rioting, the looting, the stealing. But you don't want that side of history to be told. I don't know where they got it from you, because you taught them.
Thank you all again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Don't Just Get Up, Wake You Up with your boy Zo Dog. Peace.